So the lieutenant governor of North Carolina, a Republican, stated that we are called to be led by men. If that doesn't tell you where the Republican Party stands, I don't know what will. Let's talk about it in today's video. Hi, I'm Mike Greiner. I'm a lifelong Democratic activist who's concerned about the direction our country is taking. I'm also a lawyer and an academic, and I'm here to help you stand up to the BS of the MAGA crowd. Well, as many of you know, I read all my comments and respond to most of them. And I got an interesting one the other day from someone with whom I'd taken a class a little while ago. And he wrote, LOL, authoritarian. Kind of funny, dude. I don't care for most Republicans. Most politicians are terrible. But to say right-leaning folks are authoritarian is silly. Tell me how people who want less government control over your life is more authoritarian than leftists who want progressively more control over your life. Now, maybe you and I disagree on the social issues, but maybe we can find common ground on some economical and international issues. I think we need less demonization of the other side. Leftists are pushing hard on calling anyone who voted for Donald Trump the enemy. Those sides may disagree, but that's going to cause havoc on an individual level when you start looking at your neighbor as the enemy. And I got to tell you, I really believe that we're not the ones making the other side seem like the enemy. I think American society is changing. And the problem is that you have a certain group who are pushing to not change, and that's the Republicans. And they're being very aggressive about it. One part of the comment I love here is about how the Republicans want less government control over your life, while the leftists want progressively more control over your life. I find that truly ironic in an era when the Republican Supreme Court is literally stepping in and taking away people's rights, and literally stepping in and taking away the power of certain states to govern themselves. This belief that Republicans somehow don't want more control over your life, at this point, is a joke. There is a desperate effort by Republicans to reach into your bedrooms and to stop you from doing things that they don't like. As a leftist, I have no problem with two gay men or two lesbian women doing what they want to do in their own bedrooms at night. I have no problem with two people who love each other, no matter what their gender, being married. And I have no problem with anyone choosing their own gender. So let people have their own lives. Live and let live. That's my attitude. That's what I would define as less control over your lives. Yet these are exactly the things that Republicans are trying to control. I opened this video talking about the Lieutenant Governor of North Carolina. Here are his actual comments. We are called to be led by men. God sent women out when they had to do their thing, but when it was time to face down Goliath, he sent David. Not Davida, David. Now, I gotta tell you, some of the strongest people I've ever met are women. Frankly, given the way that men have run the country, I'm inclined to vote for women as much as I can, frankly. They certainly can't do any worse. But the point is that there's this attitude among Republicans that they want to control the way people behave. If a woman wants to stay home and perform more traditional gender roles by taking care of her children, that's fine. If she wants to take a different path, that should be fine too. It should not be government's place to define how these things are going to happen. And again, that's what the right wants to do. So spare me the claims that Republicans are for less government and leftists are for more government. And this is not some fringe idea at this point. This is the lieutenant governor of a major state. And when he made these comments in front of a large evangelical church, he received a standing ovation. Similarly, any idea that there's any chance for negotiating with Republicans or finding common ground for them is proven to be an absolute joke by what happened in Upper New York State last week. Representative Chris Jacobs is a Republican congressman representing the area where there was the Buffalo shooting a couple weeks ago. Reacting out of horror for that event, he stated his support for an assault weapons ban. Isn't that just outrageous that civilians shouldn't have military-grade weapons that basically have no use except to kill other people? In making that tiny challenge to the right-wing orthodoxy, he was so assaulted by criticism and attacks and threats that he decided to drop out of his re-election campaign. There is no space in the Republican Party at this point for someone who's not an extremist, who doesn't believe that the Republican-controlled government should control your most intimate choices in the bedroom. So spare me the claims that the leftists are the aggressive ones. Tell that to Chris Jacobs. He wasn't forced out of office by leftists. He wasn't silenced by leftists. He was silenced by the right-wingers in his own party, who don't want any discussion about even reasonable policies that might slightly differ from the right-wing orthodoxy. Spare me the claims that Republicans want less government, when you have the North Carolina lieutenant governor calling homosexuality filth. We didn't make this a war. Unfortunately, it was forced on us. And all we're trying to do is defend the rights of people to live their lives the way they want to. Well, if you want to check out another video that talks about just how extreme the Republican Party has come, why don't you check out this video that I made a while ago? It's about time that the media stops treating the two parties as different sides of the same coin, when one party has become so extreme that we're literally living with the equivalent of the Nazi Party being in a position to take over American government. I'll see you then. In the meantime, let's hope for continued progress. Thank you.